It's patch day, everybody. It's patch day. It's a little bit late. It was supposed to be here on Wednesday, but we have finally today got the patch day. We've got the patch notes, and we're going to have a look at them all as well. I'm a little bit cold, hence we have the rogue. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Life Taps and Backstabs. This is my YouTube channel where I'm talking about all things Pantheon, particularly about my three favourite classes, which are the Rogue, the Dire Lord and the Necromancer. We'll see if the Druid takes any of those spots next week when it comes out, but until then we've got some patch notes to talk about, some really cool ones as well. But first, quick announcement, well, not really an announcement, jewel crafting is back. We've got jewel crafting in the game. That is one of the patch notes which we are going to talk about, so we'll just kind of drop that in straight away. Right up at the top, we have jewel crafting back in the game, which is great. So let's have a look at some of the patch notes, and I can just drop this down and we can have a face-to-face chit-chat. Right, so patch notes. We've got some cool ones. We've got some good ones. We're going to quickly run through the general stuff, and then we'll get to all the classes and the jewel crafting and crafting and gathering things as well. So general patch notes. This is build 01635151101 and February the 28th. February the 28th, we've got March tomorrow. We're absolutely crashing through the year. Anyway, the name of some places will now be shown as a large notification when the player enters them. These are only in a few places like Thronefast so far, but more will be added over time. I hope this isn't big big flashing signs, but it's good to know when you're kind of exploring and you've got found somewhere else, and if somebody says, oh, head over to Wild's End or something, and you're like, okay, well, I think I know where Wild's End is, and then hopefully it'll now pop up. That's really useful. It's good. When new techniques are gained, you will also get this large notification. Now this is also this is really good. I do like this one because a number of times, particularly when we were playing before the season started, I had to kind of let my friends know that, like, keep checking your spell book, keep checking your abilities book, because you will be learning techniques and things, and it's not particularly obvious when it happens. It tells you in the chat log, but now we'll have a pop-up, which is great. The Iron Will trait will no longer include immunity to knockdowns, which is fantastic. Iron Will was an absolute nightmare because, as I'm sure a lot of you know, as you are killing some of the group mobs, if you can't interrupt or do anything to some of their abilities, it makes it incredibly difficult. So Iron Will no longer being immune to knockdowns is great. I think that means that you are now able to yoink them as well. But yeah, that's particularly good. It just allows us to another way to interrupt the Iron Will stuff. They have added an out of range loot icon. Now I saw this on Jopper's stream a few days ago when he was demonstrating it, and as you know, when you are looting, you have to loot a particular portion of the hitbox of the mobs, and it was quite frustrating to try and find that sometimes. It wasn't really frustrating, it was just awkward to try and find that hitbox. Now they have sorted out the loot window and the loot hitbox, so that as soon as you go anywhere near the loot target window icon, the mob, anything like that, it will give you that loot icon when you come near. Now they've also added now an out of range loot, so once you get near to looting the dead mob, you will have a grayed out loot icon, and then when you get in range and you hover over the top, you will have that in range loot icon that's in color, which is really cool. Now this is an interesting one. The stuck command will now return you to one of your previous locations. Will now try to return you to one of your previous locations, which should be somewhat nearby where you got stuck in your current zone. If you can't find a valid one, it will return you to bind. You can also choose to return you to bind by simply typing in /stuck bind. Now this is really good, because there were a few locations, particularly in Hangor, and there's rocks and there's formations and everything, that as they're building the world, they don't quite get some of these locations and the corners, and like there are a few holes in Hangor which you can accidentally fall into and then you can't climb out because The holes themselves don't class and they don't count as climbable surfaces, so you just get stuck in there, and then you have to stuck back to the buying point, and then you have to run all the way back. So this is really good. So this is literally, it will probably just rewind you 10 minutes and put you 10 minutes away, and then it won't put you a long way away. If you do have a stuck command, just make sure a macro, for instance, just make sure you change that macro to /stuck bind, so that you can go back to where you wanted to. That's the point. Right, so class trainers have returned from the Gate of Soherith to assist new halflings and visiting elves. Dire Lords, Rangers, Rogues and Warriors would seek them out to learn more about their place in Terminus, which is brilliant. So we've got some new class trainers back at the gate, which is good. And then we'll just quickly run through some of the bug fixes. There are a lot. Now this is probably why the patch was delayed. They did say they found some bugs which they were trying to sort out, so we can quickly run through all the little bugs that they've sorted out, which is really good. So they have fixed a bug where the items and quest items that were in a bag when you looted your corpse, they weren't being picked up by the quest until you moved them around, and then it picked them up and it completed the quest for you. So they've sorted that out, which is good. They've fixed it where it wasn't showing the key to press on some of the loading screen messages. Never seen that, but that's really good. They blocked damage now properly reports as mitigation in the combat log. Blocked damage now properly reports as mitigation in the combat log. Okay, that's good. That might be related to the shield block for warriors and clerics and things. So that's useful to kind of keep a track on in the combat log now. They have fixed consider-based armor and magic penetration bonuses not being properly applied. I.e., light blue, green and grey NPCs will mitigate increasingly less physical and magical damage based on their con colour. Oh, thank you. So hopefully this works the other way as well, and that light blue, green and grey NPCs won't hit us as much as well, and we will actually mitigate a little bit more damage coming into us as well. So yeah, it's just one of those feelings of power, and also with the increase in the con range as well, which we saw in the last patch, which is fantastic by the way. You've now got to outlevel quite a lot more. I think it was 15 levels we worked out until mobs go grey-ish, somewhere around 15 levels. I think that was right. So having that range now that we've got to outlevel the mob by 15 levels, hopefully that's going to just allow them to, well, not allow them to hit us as much as well once they do go green, light blue or grey. So that's really, really good. Fixed being able to block and parry from behind. Way! Fixed parry-based counterattacks not properly applying damage in all cases. And they've also fixed some water volumes in Wild's End. I know there are some water volumes in Eastern Plains, sorry, Silent Plains, where you are falling through the world when you're swimming. So I wonder whether that's something similar in Wild's End as well. They have fixed items not always properly applying their internal bonuses, and they've fixed unit frame flickering between defensive and offensive targets when selecting some entities. Fixed unit frame flickering. Don't know what that means, but yep, they've fixed it, which is good. There's a lot of things that they've fixed. They've clearly had a lot of flare-ups of some bugs while they were sorting out this last patch. They fixed entity mouse click and hover detection not always registering properly, which is good. That's one of my kind of little pet peeves about the game is the feedback and everything on mouse clicks and hover detection. They've fixed entity corpses sometimes decaying before they can be checked for loot, and they fixed NPC mouse click and hover hit detection. Again, that same thing about hovering over and the hitboxes with of NPCs and things just not being where you expect them to be. They fixed dead NPC mouse click and hover hit detection as well, and they fixed the bow staff proc and improved timing on the bow staff. So if you have a bow staff, that proc is now much better. Fixed NPCs ignoring minimum distance cast conditions in combat. Okay, minimum distance cast conditions in combat. So if you were having mobs that maybe cast Curse Bolt and they need a little bit of a distance for that, maybe they are now no longer ignoring the minimum distance. They've fixed NPC network interpolation after they use charge or leap. This is a lot of kind of tech language which I can't quite kind of track down and figure out what it all means, but please let me know if there's anything in here that is significantly cool or changes and things like that. So fix for pets not continuing to assist if their master was fighting multiple NPCs and the first one was killed. Oh, thank goodness. So we've had a few instances recently where we've had to pull the pet off, put the pet back on guard just to bring the pet back into the fight again. So that's really good that they've fixed that out. They've put a fix in for damage shields being triggered by dots, which could cause a damage shield to break mez on an NPC that had cast a dot on a player with a damage shield, which is fantastic. And this is actually one of the bugs which I've put in. This was breaking mez in my real life group that I play with my Dire Lord. So fantastic. My enchanter in that group is going to be very, very happy. Andy, no more breaking mez. Fix for some abilities sometimes being shown more than once in the codex. Not seeing that. I would have loved double backstab. Thank you very much. Backstab 3 twice in the codex. Put them both on the bar. Hit them twice. Anyway, that is all the bugs, which is good. Let's get on to the class stuff. Clerics rejoice. This is really good, actually. Absorb shields will no longer nullify readiness gains on shielded targets when they take damage. Now, this is fantastic. When clerics used to put a shield over the tank, when they get hit, it didn't count as a combat hit. So the readiness generation, the essence generation, and your wrath generation didn't increase. So if you had an absorb shield on, you weren't getting any readiness apart from your hits, which is really, really good. So it's really nice that they've changed that. That's fantastic. Each of the currently available ranks of the Awaken line has had its hit point bonus increased. Added Awaken Honor at level 28 and Awaken Valor at level 36, available on the Cleric scroll vendors. If you are a Cleric, I have a Cleric alt because I'm really curious about Clerics at the moment, and hopefully all these kind of Cleric changes are going to make them rather interesting to play. Let me know how many hit points the level 28 and the level 36 ones do. It'd be really cool to see. Signet of Coursera added at level 6. Seal of Coursera added at level 16, Symbol of Coursera added at level 24, and Coursera's Blessing added at level 32. Coursera's Vow added at level 40. These new spells are available on the Cleric scroll vendors. Right, let's go and check what this ability is. So I am level 8 on my little Cleric. Signet of Coursera. Release a signet increases your target's attributes by 1. Is that all attributes? Right, level 6. Let's find out. Scribe signet into your codex. Let's have a look. Signet is level 6. Signet of there we go. Click it in. Okay. Let's have a look. So I currently have 13, 11, 12, 8. Okay, 13, 11, 12, 8, 11, 8, 17, 6. Let's target myself. 13, 11, 12, 8. 14, 12, 13, 9. 12, 9, 18, 7. So it gives everything. It's a 45-minute buff that gives +1 to all your attributes. And I'm guessing the higher level ones will be adding +2, +3, +4. That's quite good, actually. I quite like that, and I like it that it buffs everything. That's a really unique. It's a really unique and strong ability. I quite like that for the Cleric. So there you go. So this is a divine attack. So if you know how much damage and everything this does, it's going to be really interesting to see. I'm going to log on my Cleric in a second and get the level 6 one, so I can at least try that one out. The Invigorate spell is now instant cast. Oh! Grants a flat amount of endurance directly when it lands and increases endurance regeneration by 100% for 6 seconds. Energize added at level 28, Rejuvenate added at level 38. The new spells are available on the Cleric Scroll Vendors. So fantastic, really, really interesting to see that change to an instant cast as well. It's going to be very cool to be reactive with this and pop it on exactly when it's needed. So we can play around with that, especially with it being instant cast as well. It's going to be really, really good. Writ of Refreshing has been renamed to Writ of Skirmishing. Level acquired changed from 16 to 12. Okay, fine. Inspire Allies Lockout reduced from 300 seconds to 90. This is always going to be good. Increasing damage every 90 seconds now rather than every 300 seconds is always going to be good. We're loving that. So that's a really nice little change. Gives you a reason to have that up on your spell bar as well. And then Arc of Light should no longer heal players outside of group, which is perfect. Yep, that's great. Thank you very much for that. So cool. Yeah, let me know what you think, Clerics. I like those changes so far. It's a good starting point. Let's see if we can go even further with the Clerics. Give them some really unique things. Give them some very, very unique and different ways of applying healing. And also, I still want to see like a bit more of a battle cleric idea as well. So give them more reason to get into combat as well. Right. Shaman time now. So the Shaman get some changes and some additions as well. So they've cleaned up the ability description verbiage on several abilities. More to come. It's always good to have more clear descriptions on the abilities. Hopefully they make sure that all the tooltips are the same. One's in the spell book, one's on the ability bar, and the one's on the vendors. Skymane's Pact moved to level 14, and they've also reduced the attack speed bonus on that as well. So it's now 10% haste. However, they've added Skymane's Bond and Skymane's Covenant at 24 and 36. Those are now available at the scroll vendors. So I'm guessing that is going to be 10% haste for Skymane's Pact, 15% haste for Bond, and then 20% haste for Covenant. So by level 36 you get back to where you were. And then Reptilian Veil added to level 18. Reptilian Cloak at 28 and Dragon's Cloak at 38. Now these are nature and poison resist buffs, which are always good, I suppose. Like resist buffs are okay, they're very situational. And then the Fang line, the new Fang line that you've got, the mana cost has been adjusted. One of the ranks didn't have an increase, which is cool. Right, the Dire Lords, I'm very excited about the Dire Lords one. So one of my things with the Dire Lords over the last few months of playing him is just that you never have ability resources when you need to do things. So if you know that you're going to need to, for instance, interrupt. If you know you're going to need to interrupt something during a fight, you tend to not use any of your other abilities, so you don't use the essence, and therefore you can then interrupt, for instance. So this has been, these changes in here are going to really, really help things like that. So splatter distance has been adjusted to 6 meters. It was 10, should have been 5, now it's 6. Boil Blood threat has been increased, which is good. Boil Blood essence cost reduced to 150. Now, this is excellent. I believe it used to be 200. I think it used to be 200. Forgive me if I'm incorrect and it was 250. I think it was 200. It's now been dropped to 150. All the essence costs in here have gone down, and it's brilliant. It's really, really good. Boil essence has been added to the vendors at level 21. Harm shield essence cost removed and changed to 10% of health. Duration has been increased to 15 seconds, which is perfect. Right now we get on to all the essence costs. So the live tap essence cost has been reduced to 200. Used to be 250. So now you can do that much earlier when you start getting your essence back. Blood draw essence cost has been reduced to 150. Stat contributions increased 100% to 100% to 150%. So you're now going to get more stats back from blood draw. Blood Fiend cooldown reduced to 90 seconds. It was 2 minutes. Remember, Blood Fiend had a bit of a change last patch where it's now always on and you always get the life tap proc. But with Blood Fiend now it gives you even more for 30 seconds, I think. And now it's been reduced to a 90-second cooldown, which is good. Sanguine Shield essence cost has been reduced to 200. Splatter has also been reduced to 200. Again, it's really, really useful to be able to use them a little bit more readily now, and not have to be quite so protective over your essence. Essence Harvester wasn't generating essence, and now it does, which is good. And then they've also increased the amount of essence it generates to 450, which is perfect. Rune Carver grants 300 essence if the target is bleeding now, as opposed to not generating anything extra if it's bleeding. And then Devour, Dexterity and Constitution have both again had their essence cost reduced to 200. Just everything in here is fantastic. We, as Dire Lords, we struggled a little bit with essence, not particularly generation, but just the cost that we had to pay to be able to do our abilities. And ordinarily you'd be able to do one ability and then that was it. You'd then have to wait and wait and wait to then be able to do the next ability. And like I say, when you were interrupting or something, or keeping an eye on and having to do something in particular during that fight that required essence, you tend to not do all the other stuff that was in the fight. Like I would drop on Provoking Phantoms and Boil. But anyway, yes, it's really, really good. It's a good change. We like it. Let's have a quick look at the Paladin. The Paladin has had a nice quick change. Oathfire Wrath cost has been reduced to 200. Stat bonuses increased to 50% to 150%. That's going to be in line with the Blood Draw Essence. So those stat contributions have been up to 150. The Paladins have been moved up to match that, which is good. The Bowstaff's second strike damage has been updated for the monk, and Gusting Wind Bowl, they've fixed the blunt portion and now it's working while the target was exposed. And then Focus Chi duration has been increased to 10 seconds for you monks. Spirit Tap damage has been increased for the Necromancer. Yes! And that's it. The Necromancers are fine. They are. The Necromancers are absolutely fine. Summoner. Archmental Bond no longer requires you to target your pet, as does Flaming Whip, Wind Dagger and Enraged Slam. So these were buffs that you could add to your pet, but you had to target your pet first. Now it will automatically target your pet when you cast the spell. Right, items. Lidded storage boxes finally have an increased size in slots to 20. So good. I know I'm going to be really, really happy about this. My bank is absolutely jammed packed. I've got friends in the guild who one of them runs the guild bank, Calton. He's got he's struggling like an absolute boss, struggling with bank slot spaces. So this is really, really good. And I believe, I think we might see it as we get further down. I think they've added some even more boxes in as well, which is good. Right, quests. The quest Adjust Reward may now be completed by talking to Jocelyn in Avelia, which is great. Just Reward, if you have that quest, you can now go complete it, go to Avelia and sort that out. Several jewel crafting related quests have been enabled in Thronefast. That is because jewel crafting is in the game now. Yes! Several new quests are now in Wild's End, including some not so obvious ones. So if you are in Wild's End, if you are walking around Wild's End, go find some cool quests. Let me know down in the comments if you find some good ones. Baker Yezoa will now point you in the correct direction of Wildhide Beeves for the Sweet Harvest quest. I think he just gave you the wrong description on which way to go, so at least he now points you in the right direction for that. Gathering nodes have been added in northern Morvaki marshes in Wild's End, along with wood cutting and fibre harvesting. So now in the marshes you are now able to harvest and gather in there, as well as get some really good XP. Right, crafting. Jewel crafting profession has been activated. You are welcome. Let's get in there. Let's make some earrings. If anybody wants to make me some plus crit earrings, thank you very much. That would be great. This profession allows characters to create a variety of useful accessories, such as rings, earrings, necklaces, and circlets. Additional jewel crafting item types will be available in future updates. To learn the profession, speak to Isaac Sirion in Avelia, or Mahina in Soherith. You will need to have an apprenticeship token to learn the profession. Please make sure to post any bugs that you encounter. This last line is really important. If you do find something, if you find anything wrong with If you find anything wrong with schematics where they're not accepting the item that they're asking for and things like that, just throw in those bug requests. Let's get jewelry crafting just absolutely spot on and singing really, really well as soon as possible. Weaponsmithing and armor smithing. The schematic for the Shadow of Smallblade now more accurately identifies its components, which is great. And then schematics for Crusaders Van Braces, Expeditionary Chain Braces, Guardians Van Braces, Stalwarts Chain Braces, Stalwarts Van Braces, Deacons Scale Braces, Temple Ring Mail Braces, Vanguards Chain Braces, Defenders Van Braces, Vanguards Van Braces, Vicars Van Braces, Enforcers Ringmail Braces, and Expeditionary Van Braces now more accurately identify their required materials. So if you have any of those schematics, get them out, go and have a look at them on the smith weaponsmithing, armor smithing items, and see if you can make those and see what they are. Fletching and carpentry, this is the final one. The skill requirement and slot sizes for storage boxes and chests have been rebalanced. Schematics for additional larger sizes of storage chests have also been added, and the schematic for the medium chest frame now makes the correct component, so you are able to make the medium chest. This is brilliant. I don't quite know how I'm going to cope with the bank slots now. If we can have like 24 slot bank boxes in our bank, when we open up our bank, we're just not going to be able to see anything on the screen. It's going to be absolutely chock full. I'm already kind of nice and neat and tidy and got everything laid out. Now I'm going to have to do it all over again and move things just a little bit, but hopefully it's going to give me a little bit more space. I need to start selling some of the items which I have in my bank. I need to get around to that. So there we go, everybody. Let me know what you think of the patch notes. This is a really, really exciting patch. There's some really good changes in here. Jewelry crafting has come back. Dialogues have got some really, really cool things. Clerics have started to get some good little unique buffs and changes. Shaman are starting to get more abilities coming in as well. It's looking really, really good. The game is going in the right direction, in my opinion. Keep dropping in your feedback. I need to do my rogue feedback. I need to get that sorted and out. Particularly as I've got pretty much everything which I kind of wanted to pick up now. Yeah, keep enjoying the game. Drop me a whisper if you see me online on Black Moon, and I will catch you all next week. It's Druids next week, I believe, everybody. So yeah, if anybody wants any leather, I've got tons of it. Just send me a message, and we'll sort you out. Thank you very much, everybody. Take care. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you in Terminus. Goodbye.